Good morning and welcome to Story Time. Yes, thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Thursday morning. Yes, Dissent. Ruth Bader Ginsburg makes her mark. And this one is written by Debbie Levy and illustrations by Elizabeth Baddeley. Yes, good morning to you and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us as always. Yes. Storytime is here. Remember that you can find us right here on Facebook, 10:30 Pacific time, but also on Instagram as well as our YouTube channel. Yes, good morning to you and welcome. Or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, this week we continue celebrating all the women out there that are making it, that are doing it, that are giving a shining example to all of us. Yes, and today we're looking at one really grand one indeed, and this one is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Yes, good morning to you and welcome to Storytime. Thank you for joining in. Harmony Beth, good morning to you and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Yes. Good morning to you, Naima, and good morning to you, Nia, and good morning to you, Cairo. Thank you so much for joining in today. Good morning, and welcome. Thank you so much. Yes, who else is with us? Please let us know where you're joining from and who is joining in with you. Yes, and we're back in our familiar surroundings today. Welcome to Story Time. I hope you had yourself a lovely Thursday. Oh, are having a lovely beginning to your Thursday. Thank you so much. Clementine, you're joining in with Elijah and Willis. And you say good morning. Thank you so much. All right. Good morning to you. Camille, how are you doing? Good morning to you, baby Marco. And good morning to you, Jayada. When you see this, how are you doing today? Pablo, good morning to you. And you're joining in with Sienna right here in Auckland. How are you doing today, Sienna? Good to see you. Thank you so much. Ellen, how are you doing today? And you say you're joining in from sunny Chicago. Yes, I'm so jealous. Not sunny here today. Very cloudy, but enjoy it, Ellen. Enjoy it. And good to see you. Zayana and Zion, how are you doing today? Good morning to you. And good morning to you, Travesta. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome. Yes, and today we'll be reading Dissent, and this one is Ruth Bader Ginsburg Makes Her Mark, and it is written by Debbie Levy and illustrations by Elizabeth Baddeley. Yes, get ready for that one and join in and be ready for story time. Good morning to you. Yes. Good morning to you, Ishmaela Castro. How are you doing today? Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining in. And yes, this book that we're reading today is a PJ Library selection as well. And they tell us why they selected this book. And it says, disagreeing does not necessarily make you disagreeable. Just ask Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the first Jewish woman on the U.S. Supreme Court. When she was a young girl, lots of people told her she didn't have what it took to do the things she wanted to do. But she disagreed and proved them wrong. Now she shows the world that sometimes it's important to say, I dissent. Very true. So that was just PJ Library and why they chose that book. And of course, if you don't know who PJ Library are, do check out their website and see all the amazing books that they have and all the amazing literacy work that they do. Thank you so much. Good morning to you, Laura Bennett. Thank you for joining in this morning. Sonia Abrantes, how are you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for joining in. Nancy Kaufman-Cohen, how are you doing today? Yes, absolutely grateful for RBG for sure. Oh, and thank you for your kind words. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Good morning to you, Jonna. How are you doing today? Hope you're joining in as well. Good morning to you, Gaby. How are you? Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much. And Desmond in Gilroy, how are you doing? So glad you could join us today. Yes, as always, good morning to you, Desi. And good morning to you, Jessica. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, we are getting ready for our story. Angela Henderson, yes, good morning to you all. Love it. Thank you for joining in. Good morning to you. And yes, I am looking forward to it too. Excited. Thank you for joining in, Angela. Love it. Thank you so much. Good morning to you, Ingrid Didi Mugamya, all the way out in Zambia. How are you doing? And you're joining in with Venzu, Zingi, and Cousin Mungo, all the way out in Lusaka. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Yes. Good morning to you, Ingrid. Thank you so much for joining in. Jennifer Vera, good morning to you. Yes, just in time before we get started. Good morning to you. Adam, how are you doing today? And you're joining us from San Francisco with Talia. How are you doing today, Talia? Good to see you one more time on Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in. And we're going to get started with our book. Good morning to you. Yes, and we're reading I Dissent. And this one, I Dissent. Ruth Bader Ginsburg makes her mark. And this one is written by Debbie Levy and illustrations by Elizabeth Baddeley. And of course, this book is being read with permission of Simon & Schuster. And of course, an extension to PJ Libraries as well. Thank you so much. You could say that Ruth Bader Ginsburg's life has been one disagreement after another. Disagreement with creaky old ideas, with unfairness, with inequality. Ruth has disagreed, disapproved, differed. She has objected, she has resisted, she has dissented. Disagreeable? No. Determined? Yes. This is how Ruth Bader Ginsburg changed her life and ours. In 1940, Little Ruth's neighborhood was vibrant with immigrants. People from Italy, Ireland, England, Poland, and Germany. Jews from Russia like Ruth's father, Nathan Bader. People from different cultures with different holidays, foods, and traditions. But in all these families in Brooklyn, New York, and in families everywhere, one thing was the same. Boys were expected to grow up, go out in the world, and do big things. Girls? Well, girls were expected to find husbands. Ruth's mother disagreed, as we all should. Celia Amster Bader thought girls should also have the chance to make their mark on the world, so she took Ruth to the library. On the shelves were stories of girls and women who did big things. Ruth read about Nancy Drew, girl detective. She discovered Amelia Earhart, daring aviator. She learned of Athena, goddess of Greek myths. Here were independent girls and women taking charge. Ruth read her way into this world. Around her, the sweet scent of books blended with savory aromas from the Chinese restaurant downstairs. Delicious! A girl could be anything. True. Sometimes Ruth and her parents took car trips out of the crowded city. As they drove past a hotel in Pennsylvania, Ruth saw a sign. No dogs or Jews allowed. This is how it was in those days. Hotels, restaurants, and even entire neighborhoods announcing, no Jews, whites only, no Mexicans, white only, not welcome. All different signs, no colored. Ruth and her family were Jewish. This was prejudice, pure and simple. Now it was Ruth's turn to disagree. She disagreed by never forgetting how it felt to read such words. She never forgot the sting of prejudice. In elementary school, Ruth was excellent in some classes and less excellent in others. Her favorites were English, history, and gym. In those, she did well. But then there was handwriting. Ruth was left-handed. Back then, teachers told left-handers they should try to write with their right hands. Ruth's right-handed penmanship was so bad she earned a D on her penmanship test. She cried. Then she protested. Ruth protested by writing with her left hand from that day forward, and it turned out she had quite nice handwriting. Ruth also had a little problem with sewing and cooking. These were her least favorite classes, but girls had to take them. Boys took shop, where they worked with saws and other tools. She wanted to take shop. She wanted to handle a saw. She didn't get what she wanted. It may have been unfair to girls and to the boys, but Ruth was learning that sometimes it was like that. Ruth loved music. She especially loved opera. In music class, she lifted her voice in song. This time, it was Ruth's music teacher who objected gently. Ruth simply could not carry a tune. The teacher asked Ruth not to sing out loud in chorus. Ruth kept on singing in the shower and in her dreams. She continued to adore opera too. By the time Ruth was in high school, friends and teachers knew her as an outstanding student, but baton twirler, cello player, and newspaper editor. As graduation approached, Ruth was chosen to make a speech at the ceremony, but she had been keeping a big secret. Her mother was terribly sick. The day before graduation, Celia Bader died. There was no agreeing with this. There was no disagreeing. This simply was. Ruth did not go to her graduation. She did not give her speech. Still, Ruth knew what her mother wanted. 3 months later, she left home to go attend college. Not many girls went to college in the 1950s. Ruth made friends, but she also met girls who excluded Jews from their clubs. She met boys who thought girls should be looking for husbands. And then she met Martin Ginsburg. Marty was tall and funny. Ruth was small and serious. Maddie could make her laugh. They fell in love and hatched a plan. After college, they would go to law school, both of them. Lawyers, Ruth had learned, could fight unfairness and prejudice in courts. People thought it was a fine idea for Maddie to attend law school. They didn't think Ruth should go. A lady lawyer? People disapproved. Ruth disapproved right back. So did Maddie. They got married. They went to law school and they had a baby, Jane. Ruth's law school class had a total of 9 women. And listen to this, 500 men. She studied mightily and tied for first place in her class. And yet at graduation time, no one would hire this brilliant new lawyer. Why not? She was a woman. Men didn't want to work with a woman. She was a mother. Men thought a mother wouldn't pay attention to her work. She was Jewish. Many people were still prejudiced. 3 strikes against her, but Ruth was not out. She resisted and persisted. Finally, a judge hired her and she worked like mad for him. After that, one law school hired her, and then another. Ruth became one of the few female law professors in the whole country. And she did it with a new baby at home, James. Ruth had disagreed and worked her way into being a lawyer and professor, but around her, other women were excluded from jobs. When they did get jobs, they earned less than men. They were kept out of the important roles in courts and government. To make matters worse, the Supreme Court of the United States, the highest court in the land, approved of all this. As one Supreme Court justice had written years before, the natural and proper timidity and delicacy which belongs to the female sex evidently unfits it for many of the occupations of the civil life. In other words, women and girls were too shy and weak to do big things in the world. Another Supreme Court opinion declared, woman has always been dependent upon man. Ruth really disagreed with this. So Ruth went to court to fight for equal treatment of women. The most important cases went to the Supreme Court. The first time she appeared there, Ruth was so nervous she feared she might be sick. But standing before the Supreme Court justices, Ruth imagined them as her students. She, Professor Ginsburg, needed to teach these students, who were all men, why a person's choices shouldn't be limited just because she was born a girl. Ruth wasn't only fighting for women. When women are excluded from the work world, men were excluded from home life. Why shouldn't a father stay home to care for his children and cook the meals? Why shouldn't his wife run a business? These were fresh ideas in the 1970s. Ruth did not win every case, but she won enough. With each victory, women and men and girls and boys enjoyed a little more equality. Sometimes Ruth and Maddie's children received confused looks when they said that their mother argued cases in the Supreme Court and their father made the family's dinners. People found this strange. Ruth, Maddie, Jane, and James did not concur. They kept on being the type of family they wanted to be. And dinners at the Ginsburg home were delicious. Maddie was a successful lawyer, but also a marvelous chef who had mastered the art of French cooking. Ruth, her family knew, had mastered the art of burnt pot roast. Ruth became well known as a lawyer, so well known that President Jimmy Carter chose her to be a judge in Washington, D.C. Then Ruth became known as a first-rate judge, and President Bill Clinton asked her to be a justice on the Supreme Court. Along with 8 other Supreme Court justices, her job would be to decide the most significant cases and answer the most difficult legal questions in the United States. Ruth agreed. In 1993, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg became the first Jewish woman on the nation's highest court. In each case the Supreme Court considers, after hearing from lawyers who argue for each side, the 9 justices take a vote. The side that gets the most votes wins the case. The justices who agree write an opinion to explain the court's ruling. When Justice Ginsburg votes with the winning side, she wears a special lace collar over her robe. But many times when the Supreme Court announces the decision, Justice Ginsburg disagrees. "I dissent," she says, and she writes her own opinion explaining why. Plus, she wears a different collar just for dissenting. "I dissent," Justice Ginsburg said when the court wouldn't help women or African Americans or immigrants who had been treated unfairly at work. "I dissent," she said, when the court rejected a law meant to protect the right of all citizens to vote, no matter their skin color. "I dissent," she further said, when the court said no to schools that offered African Americans a better chance to go to college. Justice Ginsburg can be very convincing. In one dissent, she explained why the court was so wrong to rule against women workers who were fighting to get paid the same as men. Congress and the president agreed with her and passed a law to undo the court's ruling. How powerful is that? Justice Ginsburg has disagreed most often with the legal views of Justice Antonin Scalia. But they didn't just complain. "I dissent. No, I dissent." They shared their conflicting ideas. Each pointed out weaknesses in the other's arguments. And after their opinions were written, the two justices had fun with each other. They didn't let disagreements about law get in the way of a long friendship. And you see them there, doing all different kinds of activities together. Justice Ginsburg is now the oldest member of the Supreme Court. Some people have said she should quit because of her age. Justice Ginsburg begs to differ. She works as hard as ever. She exercises in the gym. She never misses a day in court. She attends the opera, gives speeches, and travels. Many have cheered Justice Ginsburg for her persistence and independence. They have called her a rock star, a queen, a goddess, a hero. Of course, Ruth Bader Ginsburg isn't a rock star, a queen, or a goddess, but to many, she is a hero. She cleared a path for many people to follow in her footsteps. Girls in college, women in law school, and everyone who wants to be treated without prejudice. Her voice may not carry a tune, but it sings out for equality. Step by step, she has made a difference. One disagreement after another. Oh, uplifting, powerful. So lucky to live in a time when we have such an amazing person on the Supreme Court. Yes, I hope you found that story amazing and uplifting. And yes, also a point to begin those big discussions with our little ones at home. Amazing indeed. And when you think back of all the things that she's had to go through in order to get to where she is, and just so how many things that we take for granted that we are now enjoying, that people like her have fought for. So let us keep that fire burning and keep the flag flying high and keep on, like sharing and making sure that everybody is treated equally. And we want to make sure that everybody has a life that they can enjoy, just like we want ours to be, right? Thank you so much. And really appreciate that one. That was Dissent. Ruth Bader Ginsburg Makes Her Mark. And it was written by Debbie Levy and illustrations by Elizabeth Baddeley. Thank you so much for joining in for that one. That was indeed heartwarming. I'm just still feeling that energy, that inspiration from it. Thank you so much. But remember that we're back tomorrow again with another story, and this time we'll be reading Jazz Baby. So do join us for that one, for a Friday song, for a Friday reading. Yes. And before we go into, just checking who else is with us today, I just wanted to read what PJ Libraries had put up on their website as to why they have chosen this book as one of their selections. And they said, even in our 7- and 8-year-old subscribers are likely to have some awareness of the divisions over, big issues that have happened, like Brexit and the recent U.S. presidential election. The ability of U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg to disagree strongly but respectfully and in the spirit of friendship makes this book particularly timely. RBG, the first Jewish woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court, is a tireless fighter for racial equality and women's rights and a role model throughout the Jewish world. Her commitment to Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, is apparent in her support for those less able to fight for their own rights. Her close friendship with a fellow justice whose opinions were different from her own is an example of Mashkalot Ishem Shamayim, constructive conflict. And I hope I'm getting all those correct. Although this is a serious book, it's funny too. It has eye-catching illustrations and interesting facts about Bader Ginsburg's life. It also provides background to the era in which she grew up, a time when children were not allowed to write with their left hand. With visual interests, rich thematic and historic content, and synonyms for dissent sprinkled throughout the book, there is much for younger readers to talk about with their adults in their lives. Yes, a great book to share at home with everybody. So thank you so much for joining in. And today, yes, we had the great opportunity to read an amazing book, Dissent. But be sure to join us for the next one tomorrow when we read Jazz Baby. Thank you so much for joining in this morning. And let's just see who else has joined us today. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. Harmony Beth, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, and still active at 87. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Harmony Beth. Absolutely. So true. And healing wishes to her. Yes, yes. I was listening to the news the other day and just following. Let's wish her all the best. Jen Vedder, thank you so much. Thank you, Angela Henderson. Yes, yes, it is always amazing to see all these inspiring stories and see how they can inspire us and move us into action. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you, Ellen Edwards. Thank you, as always. Appreciate you. And you say, carry on, RBG. Yes, and we echo that message right with you. Vivian Perez, thank you so much for joining us. Ingrid Mugamia out in Zambia. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, yes, absolutely. Encouraging for all the girls out there. Thank you so much. Irene, thank you for joining us. How are you doing? Yes, keep burning, keep the fire burning and keep speaking out. That's all we can do at times, but it is powerful indeed. Let us keep fighting for each other. Thank you so much. Jen Vedder, inspiring story about an inspiring woman. Absolutely agree. Well put. Thank you so much, Jen Vedder. Thank you to you, Irene. Jessica Fontino, thank you so much. And of course, thanks to you, Desi. Good morning. Good morning to you, Vivian Perez. Thank you so much. Joanne, thank you so much. Well, you will be able to catch a recording of this one for sure. And then do check in the link where you can get yourself a copy. Thank you so much. Yes, this recording will be available until August 31st. To you, Clementine, thank you so much. Elijah and Willis, thank you so much. Have a lovely day, and I will see you tomorrow for sure. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you, much appreciated. Yes, thank you, absolutely. All right, from me, it is much love as always, and I will see you tomorrow when we are back for Jazz Baby. Today we read I Dissent. We're back tomorrow for Jazz Baby. Do join me for that one. Much love from me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Stay inspired.